Let's get right to Daisy Caballero. Daisy, how much lightning did we see last night, and can we expect any today?
Well, China, to answer your question, the National Weather Service says within the last 24 hours alone, from Lane all the way to Cowlitz County, we saw anywhere between 1,000 to 1,250 lightning strikes. So that's a lot. But the good news here is that it's kind of diminishing the chance for us to see more of those lightning strikes. But as you can see, it was a pretty active scene, really west and south of the Portland metro area. But we'll be seeing a lot more of this, a lot more of that cloud coverage for at least the early morning parts of this morning. We're clocking in at 64 degrees. Rest of our current temperatures right now, 59 in Forest Grove, 60 in Tigard, 61 in Sherwood. Looking down south just a little bit, Salem clocking in at 57 and 58 degrees for Kaiser. Here's a look at what the next 3 days are going to be showing us here in the Rose City. 75-degree high for today, 71 for Monday for Labor Day, and then starting to warm up into those low 70s for Tuesday.
We are tracking a horrific story out of Seattle right now. 2 adults and 2 children are dead after a reported shooting and fire. An 11-year-old girl managed to escape, but just before 9 Saturday morning, Seattle police responded to a call about a shooting at a house. When they got there, Seattle police and fire found the home engulfed in smoke and flames. Once the fire was under control, firefighters then made a tragic discovery.
A deceased person at the rear of the structure, infant that was deceased, and a child that was deceased, along with the dog.
It's pretty shocking and really sad. I think that it's probably going to be remembered in the neighborhood because it's kind of a tight-knit community.
Homicide detectives were on scene for more than 8 hours trying to piece together what happened as they gathered evidence. It's still unclear what caused the fire. The medical examiner is looking into how the 4 people died. Closer to home, 2 teenage boys are recovering after being stabbed at a Max station in southeast Portland. Police say the boys, both 17, were attacked at the Green Line Flavel Street station. They're both expected to survive. Police were able to catch the suspected attacker within minutes. 25-year-old Adrian Cummins is charged with assault and first-degree bias crime. It's been a busy weekend for workers across Portland, with some joining protests and picket lines ahead of Labor Day. Ashley Graham's checked out several protests and heard from employers and employees about what they're looking for from this process.
Workers in Pioneer Square.
Picket line means do not cross.
Make some noise and picket on Labor Day weekend.
This feels wonderful. I mean, we have a whole band with us.
A few blocks away, staff from Powell's take a stand outside of the iconic bookstore.
It's really focused on just getting the company to come to the table and actually bargain with their employees, with their union in good faith.
And across the city in northeast Portland, it's a similar scene in front of New Seasons Market.
This is the staff that was on shift for today. We did a walkout.
In one way or another, many asking for similar things: respect for their rights as workers and as union members.
Pitting workers against each other, pitting stores against each other, classic union busting tactic.
The New Seasons Labor Union is an independent workers union, and so are some of the groups marching in downtown Portland.
We've always had the larger unions representing us, but now working class people are taking it into their own hands to form their own unions and take the power back at the workplace.
Samantha Medina has helped Voodoo Donut employees to organize for the past 5 years and planned this rally to support trans workers specifically.
There's only one way to get the bosses to listen and to care for us, their workers, to actually treat us like dignified human beings. And sometimes you have to get loud about it.
While it's obvious some Portlanders are unhappy with their working conditions, they say it's about a lot more than just this city. It's about the American labor movement as a whole.
Labor's a hot topic, and I think it's only going to continue to move forward.
I do think folks are taking workers' rights and workers' protections more seriously.
We reached out to some businesses where these rallies happen. New Season Market responded saying, in part, quote, "We remain committed to fostering a workplace that prioritizes open dialogue and mutual understanding." A fire station in Southeast Portland back open and fully staffed for the first time in more than a decade. The crews at Fire Station 23, which is on Southeast Gideon in the Brooklyn neighborhood, held a barbecue to celebrate on Saturday. Neighbors are relieved to know now there is a fire, and if it happens, firefighters will be closer to them and ready to fight it. The station closed in 2011 because of city budget cuts. It's empty until a two-person crew was assigned to the station in 2017, but they couldn't handle every call.
This is absolutely huge. I got to be honest with you, this community is the only community in Portland out of 31 stations that did not have a fire engine with 4 firefighters on it. That's pretty frustrating for me.
The station is only funded for the next 3 years. The Neighborhood Association and the Firefighters Association say they're hoping the city will pay to keep it open permanently. A new report says Oregon isn't doing enough to get guns out of the hands of people who could be a danger to themselves or others. That's despite the state having what is known as red flag laws on the books. Alma McCarty explains how they work and why they're underused in Oregon.
We need to get the word out. We need to let people know that this is a resource.
A new report found not enough Oregonians know about the Extreme Risk Protection Order Law, or ERPO, and what it can do to keep people safe.
A family member, a household member, member of law enforcement, they essentially petition the circuit court by filling out a notarized petition with facts that, show that the person is a danger to themselves or to others.
Under the red flag law, typically within 24 hours, the court will hold a hearing. And if a judge determines there's clear and convincing evidence, they'll issue an order for the individual to surrender their firearms. ERPO is one of several protective orders in Oregon, but in the 4.5 years it's been on the books, only 564 petitions were filed. Data compiled from 2018 to 2021 shows ERPOs made up less than 1% of all protective orders requested in the state. Ellen Clem works for the Office of the Attorney General.
We've passed this great law. It's a significant resource to keep people safe. We just have to let more people know about it.
Auditors found several other barriers, from the time it takes to request an order to a lack of familiarity with the courts or language barriers. Auditors recommend Oregon push to educate and train on when and how to use the red flag law.
It's like we've worked so hard to get the law passed, and we just think, oh, we've done this great thing. And then we forget that there's still work we have to do on the back end to let people know about it, educate them on how they can utilize it. And I think that that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Washington State troopers are asking people to drive slow, smart, and sober this holiday weekend. The Washington Traffic Safety Commission warns that 2023 could become the deadliest year on the roads in decades. Here's an example why. Despite warnings throughout the week, there have already been 14 DUI arrests and 70 crashes in King County within the last 2 days alone. 5 of those DUI arrests were made after a crash, and 16 calls reported aggressive driving.
I know that we have bumper shoot going on, UW games going on right now, so just prior to those events, try to arrange a safe driver, somebody who's going to be sober.
The warning comes as state leaders say the state is on track to have one of the deadliest years on record. In 2022, there were 750 traffic deaths statewide, the highest number since 1990. As the end of July, there have been 417 traffic deaths this year statewide compared to the 413 the year before that.